Hi,
Hello,
Carla.
hi, Professor Robbins. Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha Bruno. I am the Career Services Coordinator at Mark's Career Services. I'm joined here with Elaine Chuang, who is the MPA advisor, and Professor Michael Feller, who is the professor for the PAF 9195 class. Today, we'll be going over the internship requirement if you are in the MIA or MPA program, both on the academic side, and we'll go into a little bit more about how, what resources are available to you for your search.
So hello, everyone. My name is Elaine Chuang. I'm from Advisement. So I'm just here to go over the program requirements and what it means to have this internship requirement. So students who apply to the MIA and MPA program with less than 1 year of full-time related work experience, which means in the public sector, in government, nonprofit, etc., will require an internship for the program as indicated on their admissions letter. So if you're at the letter that says, welcome to Baruch, you've been accepted into the program, if it says somewhere in the body that you must complete an internship as part of your graduation requirements, it will explicitly say that. That means you will be required to do an internship and complete the degree with 45 credits and no less. Okay. Also, just a note, please do not rely on degree works to show this indicator. We are still working on fixing degree work so that it can accurately reflect it. But if you are unsure, if you need this internship requirement, please check with Advisement. Okay. Also, it is recommended to be completed early before your final semester. Okay, so if you can do it, I think what I usually recommend to students is that after their first semester. So anytime between your second semester and, before your final semester, any time would be fine to do the internship. And you are able to do the internship in the summer as well. So just a note for international students, so students who are on F1 visas, international students must obtain CPT before starting internship. So CPT, for those who do know, it stands for Curriculum Practicum Training or Practical Training. It is something that is required of USCIS, so immigration. Failure to comply with these regulations puts your status at risk. So if you want to know more about the CPT process and what that involves and the paperwork that's involved, please be in contact with ISSC. They also do have CPT workshops and OPT workshops if you want to learn more about OPT as well. Okay, so getting down to it, just a brief overview of the actual internship course. So the course code is PAF 9195. It's listed as Public Affairs Internship. It is a 3-credit course, which you will have to register for and pay for. For you to receive and complete this course successfully, you will have to complete 150 internship hours minimally. And this class is graded on a pass or no credit basis. Okay, so for you to pass, you must have completed 150 hours minimally. And of course, all the requirements that Professor Feller puts in his syllabus. Okay, students cannot self-register for 9195. You must receive approval from Professor Feller and from Advisement. Okay, so the way to receive approval is that you must first acquire an internship, send all the information to Professor Feller for approval, and then we will give you permission on CUNY first for you to register if you are approved by Professor Feller. And of course, with that being said, the internship hours must be completed during the semester in which you are enrolled in the course. So you must complete 150 hours if you are enrolled in that specific semester. So if you're enrolled in the fall semester, you must complete it within that timeline. Okay.
Professor Fowler, is there anything else that you'd like to add on about the internship course, just anything about admission to the course and what the course looks like during the semester?
Sure. So good evening, everyone. Professor Robbins has stepped back. We should also introduce Professor Carla Robbins, who is the director, the originator, the creator of the MIA program. She's also my partner in crime for the Washington semester program, which includes PAF 9192, for which students who do the program get 6 credits for doing an internship in Washington, DC. This year, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, they're doing their internships remotely. Last year, we had to cancel the program altogether, so this is a step in the right direction. But you should know that in terms of fulfilling the internship requirement, if you apply for and are accepted for and complete the Washington program, that will cover this internship requirement. Okay.
Michael, can I interrupt you? Michael, can I interrupt you?
Yeah, please.
Unfortunately, remotely, on the other hand, they have absolutely fabulous internships. So just.
Yeah, we got fortunate. And in fact, a few of them, because of the unique circumstances this year, a couple of them are with organizations that are important to the program, particularly the MIA students, but actually are headquartered in New York City. So we have 2 students who are interning with the United Nations Global Compact, which the UN is in New York, not DC, but for MIA students, it's a great opportunity. And those 2 students, at least one of them is spending some time in the office in person because it's here. Everybody else is doing it remotely.
We also have a student at the EPA, and we have a student at Brookings, and we have a student at the Center for Surveillance and Conflict. So it's a good year. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, no, that's those are important things.
We're doing well.
Yeah. So, okay. So I've been doing this. I've been responsible for this course since I think 2009. If I add the National Urban Fellows program that we used to do some years ago, I've worked with more than 400 graduate students on internships. So I know a little something about this subject. There are a couple of keys to it. The first key, Elaine already mentioned, which is plan ahead. Plan ahead. I mean, we try to be flexible. We work for the government, I guess, technically. Our paychecks come from New York State, but I like to think I'm not a government bureaucrat. So my objective is always to try to be flexible and help students accomplish their goals. So I will work with you to find an appropriate internship if you're unable to find one on your own. But please don't wait until the week before the semester starts and send me an email and say, I've been trying to find an internship for the last 2 months and I haven't found one. Can you help me? Because it takes time and it takes contacting people and they're busy and so on and so forth. So always happy to help. Always happy to review resumes. Between graduate students and undergraduate students, I have edited in the last 17 years, probably 800 to 900 resumes, okay? I can fix your resume in under 10 minutes, guaranteed, and the cost to you is zero. You know, Professor Robbins is a professional editor of newspapers. I guess I'm a professional editor of resumes. So that's one point. Another point is the internship needs to fit in to the nonprofit or government sector, preferably, strong preference. Again, in order to be flexible, we have, I think, a couple of students even this semester in the MIA program who were doing internships with organizations that are not nonprofit, that may be businesses that are for profit, but the work that they're doing is so connected to the MIA program that Professor Robbins asked me if I would waive the usual requirement, and this student is doing his or her, I forget who it is, internship with an organization that if it came to me directly, I would have said no. So the other piece of it is particularly for MIA students, and I don't know which program you're in right now, but connect with Professor Robbins and discuss your interests even before you come to me, right? Because she can give you good advice on this makes sense, wouldn't normally fit, but I understand what you're trying to do, and I will make sure that this happens for you. And she's done that, and we're colleagues, we're friends. I'm always happy to accommodate. Okay. Again, if you send it to me directly and it doesn't fit, I'll say that doesn't fit. Let's see, what else? The course itself, my focus is entirely on what are you going to do when you get your degree? So I'm kind of an adjunct. I'm a full-time professor, but I'm an adjunct to career services. I'm an adjunct to advisement. And again, I've been doing this in my 17th year. I come out of the banking world, actually. So I'm a recovering JP Morgan Chase banker who happened to have a lot of experience with the nonprofit world, largely because I was the president of the JP Morgan Chase Foundation. And I was also the responsible for corporate social responsibility. So I interacted with a lot of government folks. All right. So I've been to the White House. I've been to the state capitol in Albany. I hang out with nonprofit leaders. So I still know a few people. So if you're having difficulty, again, I'm available for consultation. Elaine and Sam can get you my contact information. I talk to students pretty much 7 days a week, and happy to, again, review your resume, your background, what your interests are. And when we're back in person, when offices are open, I can also help you find something where if you need to be in the office, you're not commuting from, I don't know, Hicksville on Long Island to the North Bronx, right? There are 50,000 nonprofit organizations just in New York City. That doesn't include Long Island or Westchester or New Jersey or Connecticut. So wherever you live, there are undoubtedly some potential internship sites. The course itself is totally focused on the internship. So a number of years ago, I proposed to the curriculum committee. It used to be a graded course where there was really nothing to base a grade on, and I had to come up with grades, and I really was uncomfortable with that. So the class is pass fail. If you do an internship at an organization that we've approved, and you complete the 150 hours, and your supervisor sends me in, there's an evaluation that they're asked to do at the end, and the first screen says, did the student complete 150 hours, yes or no? As long as the answer is yes, you pass the course. There's one written assignment from me, which is focused on who you are, where you've been before, and where you want to go when you finish, so that I can get to know you a little bit, so I can try to be helpful to you. And then essentially I work one-on-one with the students, with each student. I schedule recently, the last year, Zoom calls. That part of the pandemic has made my life a little easier because, I would be coming into school to have a 1-hour meeting with, 2 students on a day when I don't need to be at school. And for that purpose, Zoom is just as good as being in person, I think. But within the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've spent at least an hour with each of the students in the Washington semester program, going over what they're doing now, talking about how it might fit into their plans for the future, and making suggestions about organizations that they can look at. You're going to get amazing, amazing content from Professor Robbins, Professor Jarvis, Professor everybody who does what I think of as the academic heavy lifting of the program. My class is totally about what are you going to do in the real world once you got it, and how are you going to get there? Okay, so those are the basics. And once you're a student of mine, that lasts, there's no expiration date on that, okay? I've had in the last week or two, a student who graduated 15 years ago got in touch with me wanting career advice. Happy to do that. It keeps me busy and out of my wife's hair and out of trouble. So that's the story. I will stop there and see if there are any questions. Carla, did you have anything you wanted to add from the MIA perspective?
No, I'll just tell you that everything Michael just told you is absolutely true. He's an extraordinary resume editor, and students stay in touch with him forever. And so this is, I always tell you guys, don't miss any opportunity that Marks has to offer. And this is one of the really fabulous opportunity. And I hope some of you guys are here, not because you have to be here, but because you want to be here. This is, having an internship is an extraordinary way to change careers, develop your career. These are just fabulous opportunities. And there are very few schools where you're going to get the level of support that you're going to get here. So embrace it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Professor Speller and Professor Robbins. So before we open it up to the Q&A, I'll just go over one last slide, which is perfect segue from what was just mentioned. So for any student that needs help with searching for an internship, you absolutely have Professor Feller. You also have myself and Suzanne Grossman in Marks Career Services to review your resume, cover letters, and other documents. We do LinkedIn reviews, we do mock interviews, and all that sort. If there's an opportunity that you see, but you're not sure if it's going to meet the requirements of your program, like Professor Feller said, please reach out to him, please reach out to us, because the last thing we would want is for a student to find an internship opportunity for it to then get denied in the end. And of course, if there is an internship opportunity that you believe will fit with your program, tell us why, tell us how, and we can absolutely work with you. Like Professor Feller said, the Washington semester does fulfill the internship requirement and a few extra elective credits. I'm going to drop in the chat a report that we pulled from our Marks Career Connect database of internships that have been completed from fall 2020 to this current fall 2021. And you will see all the students who actually have internships through the Washington semester. So the Center of Civilians in Conflict is on there. Again, these are all amazing opportunities. Especially in the time of the pandemic, internship opportunities have expanded to remote internships, to project-based internships. Professor Robbins, I believe at the last info session, had mentioned that you can complete an internship in a completely different time zone with now the technology that we have available to us. And then lastly, if you are unsure if the opportunity is right, please stay in touch with Marks Advising Career Services and Professor Feller and your respective faculty program directors as well. So now at this time, I'll open it up to questions and answers. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'll give some people some time to type in some answers, or feel free to unmute, raise your hand, anything like that. Yes, Jeffrey.
Hi. I attended this, I think, last semester, and I'm fully aware of the need to do this to graduate. I'm not married to my career and would like to change my career, which I'm not sure yet what I want to do. However, I'm married to making a living and paying for my bills. So I'm interested in speaking to how do I do that, and how am I able to do that? Because I want to do that, and I don't know. That's pretty much my question. I don't know if that makes sense.
Absolutely, Jeffrey, and we do understand that there are people who work full time and that need this internship for the program. So in this case, like I mentioned earlier, the opportunity for remote internships and project-based internships, they are far and few between. They really do require some ahead of time research on how to get the program specifically. Especially, I would almost do recommend project-based internships, because those are opportunities for students to get to learn about an industry, but not necessarily tied to a 9 to 5. It's not a 10 to 4, anything like that. Project-based internships, sometimes you can almost think of them very similar to like a graduate assistantship, sometimes with faculty members, where if they are working on a special project that's either with the curriculum or outside, yeah, there are sometimes hours just delineated just, for logistical reasons, but ultimately the point of that internship is getting to understand the subject matter. So I would absolutely recommend looking into those. And the best way I feel to start researching those types of internships are just to start with keywords that, what internships, what fields are you interested in? And then 2, if remote isn't a good key search term for your specific interest, then we need to workshop on like what it actually looks like in your field of interest.
Okay, because like I said, I'm not married to my job other than the income. And like, who do I come, like, who's the best person to come in and speak to about something like this?
You can absolutely speak with one of us at Mark's Career Services. Professor Feller, I'll put you up as well for that opportunity too. Actually, let me really quickly throw in the chat our Mark's Career Services webpage so that you can make an appointment with us as soon as possible. So excuse me 1 second.
Jeffrey, have you talked to Mark?
Mark, who was in, yes, I haven't talked to him.
Well, because he's working full-time and did an internship, which he's just extended and is just managing to sort of juggle it because it's remote, and he's having an extraordinary experience actually with it. You should reach out to him.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
So I just put my contact information in the chat. Feel free to email or text. That's my cell number, and we'll set up a time. I mean, some students we've had students, I guess predominantly they've been teachers who are off in the summer and are wanting to change careers so they can do an internship in the summer. I recognize that it's a challenge, but yeah, I guess if you want to make a real change, it helps to have an experience in the field you want to change to, if you can manage it, for sure. Other questions?
Other questions?
I also put in the chat box the 99% of the placements going back to 2009 for graduate students, because I track this stuff. I'm a recovering banker, and we always look at the data, and this is kind of the data on internships. Some of them might be still available now, others maybe not. Some organizations may not be here anymore, but it gives you a starting point to see what students have done in the past.
We were also, we've been talking to students about, Jeffrey, I don't remember what it is that you do for a living, but the possibility of doing some research project or some project related to your current job that has, in your case, you're an MIA student that has an international component to it. We're willing to be flexible, but I don't know what your situation in work. We do have students who are exploring this. I think we may have one student who's already doing that, because we get it that some of you guys have no choice, and you're working full time and you can't take the time to do a traditional internship. One of the great choices is remote right now, but we're also suggesting that if you can think creatively inside your workplace. Samantha is spending a lot of time thinking about how to do that, so you should reach out to Sam as well.
Absolutely. So we have a question that came in. Does the Career Center focus on the USA, or do you have placement opportunities overseas in Africa, Asia, or Europe? So for the majority of the postings that we have up on the Marks Career Connect, they are US based. That is not to say that these US based internships don't work with with other countries across the globe, or either other offices that work more internationally. There is a website called Going Global. So sorry, I apologize in advance. Right now, the Marks Career Services actual webpage is down because I believe they're doing some maintenance. But we do have a resource on that on our page once it's up called Going Global, and it's a platform which that has its own postings about internships across different countries. And I've used this guide not only at Baruch, but at other institutions I've worked as well. It's a database of job postings or internship postings that are available in other countries. And two, they have guides for if you were to work in a country or intern in a country in person, what is someone that is not from that country, what's something that they need to know before going there. At this time, however, because we are still, in the world of the pandemic, a lot of the opportunities will be remote. There really are limited opportunities to do international internships at this time. But, that's not to say that it won't happen in the future.
And you should also, if you're interested, you should be looking at the UN, which has a variety of internship competitions with placements overseas. And they're also, you look at, New York is filled with all sorts of international NGOs with placements overseas. You look at something like the International Rescue Committee and you go on their website, there's a drop-down menu with placements in a variety of places. Now, whether these are all remote right now, I have no idea, but they're not just in New York. They're not just in Washington. You can look at the cities where they're looking for people. Now, what you need to be doing right now, even if you aren't planning on doing an internship right now, is you should be cruising these websites, and you should be, when I say to people, develop a spreadsheet of opportunities, and become aware of what their deadlines are. And I know that every year the UN has a variety of different internship possibilities that are very competitive with different deadlines. They're not all at the same time for different parts of the United Nations system in different places around the globe. So as long as you remind yourself of what the deadlines are and what the possibilities are out there, when you're ready, you'll have plenty of time to get ready for it. But the last thing you want to do is suddenly wake up and say, oh my God, the deadline was a week ago and I missed it. So, and you can't rely on career services to know that. That's, you can't, you guys are grown-ups, you're in graduate school, you know how to do a spreadsheet. You need to start doing that. And there's lots of opportunities out there, and Mr. Google is your friend.
And just to go off that point, an internship is an opportunity for all of you to explore a field or explore what you want to go into. I do find that a lot of students will hold off on applying to an internship just because they don't know if it's going to be right for them. That is the entire point of an internship. It's an opportunity for you to get to know what you like, what you might not like. So please be very, don't be afraid to apply to as many internships as possible, because even if there's only one thing that you're like, I don't know if that's something I'm going to like, go for it, because it might be the one thing that you do like once you get to the opportunity.
So I see we have a hand raised, but right before we go to that question, let me add two things so I don't forget them. One is go on the Marks website and look at the faculty bios and see what faculty are interested in. This is a group of people who have an amazing set of experiences that go beyond their academic interests, right? You have people who have been senior people in state government, in federal government, in city government, and you need to look at all of them. And I haven't encountered one yet who isn't willing to have a conversation with a student about their careers. and to offer, you know, thoughts and advice, and you just never know what one of them might come up with. But you won't know unless you look at the bios and see what you're interested in. You know, for example, we have a bunch of faculty who are healthcare experts. You know, I come across graduate students all the time who are interested in healthcare management and other things related. Well, you know, Jonathan Engel has written a number of books on the subject, and so have others. I mean, and, you know, these are people who are, they're at Baruch for a reason. And one of the prime reasons is the diversity of the students that come to Baruch College. We just had a faculty Zoom last Friday to talk to the search consultants who are starting the search for a new dean for the Mark School. And that was one of the primary points that was made. And what do we want in a new dean? And part of it had related to, we're all here because this place is so diverse and people come from all kinds of backgrounds and all nationalities. I've counted over 50 countries of origin for the students in my undergraduate classes, 50. So get to know the faculty and ask them. And then also look, Professor Robbins was talking about the UN. New York State has, I think the application deadline for this spring may have passed, although I could probably get it looked at. New York State Assembly and Senate have graduate internship programs for graduate students. We've had a student last year, Anissa Martinez, who was looking to do something in one of the hospitals and that wasn't working. And she talked to me and I said, you ought to look at the New York State Assembly internship. Well, she did. She applied for it. She got it. She spent the spring semester. The graduate students were in Albany. Came with a $15,000 stipend to cover expenses, which is more than enough to live in Albany. And I just talked to the program director today. She's still in Albany, working full time, I think for the state Senate now. She graduated, she got a job with the state Senate. So that internship led directly to what she's doing today. So, you know, look beyond your normal span, cast the net wide, look at the state, look at the city, look at the federal government. They all have websites with job listings. I've talked too much. Kimori, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, hi. I'm not sure if I missed this, but is it okay if the internships are paid? Or
That's fine. It doesn't happen too often. The largest source, in my experience, of paid internships is actually New York City government.
okay, I see.
Okay. I've had students, you know, work for the MTA, who work for the sanitation department and doing internships, and they got paid. Most nonprofits can't afford it. Professor Robbins mentioned we have a student at Brookings this semester for the Washington program. Pretty sure he's getting paid. Brookings can afford it. You know, it's just a question of which organization and do they have the money. They'd all love to pay you, but the nonprofits, that's kind of tough. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Other questions? Okay, we answered all the, we must have been really clear tonight for a change.
Yeah, this is new. Okay, so on that note, if we can end the session here tonight. Thank you all for joining. I will be sending up a follow-up email by tomorrow with a copy of this recording, the handouts that were given below in the chat, and then hopefully by this time tomorrow, the Mark's website will be back up for us to share these amazing resources. So on that note, everyone, please have a great rest of your week. Happy Monday, and we will talk to you all soon.
So long.
Thanks, Sam. Bye, Michael.
Bye, Carla. See you soon.
Yeah.